Well, hello everybody. We're finally live because I mistaked my time. I'm very good at that.
Yeah.
Um, I am going to read a little history about tonight's topic, which is going to be the Sally House. So bear with me because it's not my native tongue, so I could make some mistakes, even though I can speak English American pretty good, but still. Stop laughing. It's not funny. I'm gonna kick you off. She's not
Yeah.
funny. I don't like you anymore now. All right, everybody, I'm going to tell the story now.
Yes.
The history. The Sally House was built in the mid 1800s, commissioned by the Finney family, and the home to Dr. Charles Finney. Some believe Dr. Finney practiced medicine from the house, using the bottom floor for surgery and examination and the bedroom as an office. The Finney family lived upstairs until moving out due to lack of space. However, the layout and the floor plan of the house does not suggest this theory. The house was listed on the real estate website Zillow for $1 million in February of 2016, uh, dropped to $499,000 in August, and taken off the market in 2017. Talking about the hauntings, the Sally house is reported to be haunted by the ghost of a young girl who died there. According to the legend, a child named Sally was brought to Dr. Finney's house by the mother for severe abdominal pain. He gave her anesthesia and began emergency surgery as he believed that Sally's appendix was about to rupture. However, he made the first incision before the anesthesia kicked in. As he continued surgery, Sally was screaming from pain and bled out, which ended up killing her. However, there's no physical evidence of Sally living or dying on the property, and it has been said that the major made the story up as a publicity stunt to attract more visitors to the city of Atchison, Kansas. I have never heard of that city, but now I do. Multiple former tenants have alleged paranormal activity there. It has been especially reported by male residents and visitors, some of whom have claimed to have been scratched until they bled, which has led to Sally being dubbed the man-hating ghost. This could be because the last thing Sally saw before her death was the male doctor whom she believed was torturing her. In the 1990s, the house was featured on the paranormal investigation television show Sightings. Former resident appeared on the show A Haunting in 2006 and on Paranormal Witness in 2013. January 17th, 2015, it appeared on the episode of the Travel Channel series Ghost Adventures, and it has been featured twice on BuzzFeed's Unsolved Supernatural, first in season 1, then episode 3 in 2016, and again in the final episode of the show, season 7, episode 6 in 2021. So without further ado, we're going to start the intro, and then we're going to bring in our guests who are patiently waiting, probably laughing
Yes.
their ass off, um,
Yeah.
backstage. There we go. All right, there we are again.
Yes.
Took me
Yes.
about 3 minutes, I think, the
Um,
reading part.
you did a great job. You really did
Oh,
a
thank
great
you.
job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Better than me because I lost my voice and I sound like some some telephone, like I explained earlier. But
Yep.
yeah, I hope my voice is staying with me tonight. Um, how was your day?
I was very very tired of last night
Yeah,
about the investigation we had.
yeah, I know the
So
feeling. I know the feeling. Yeah,
yeah, but we're getting there, and I was still dying to do this today. So
absolutely.
I slept well. I have to say that I slept well, but I'm very tired. How about you?
Um, had a great day. I had to search for a post package. It's supposed to be delivered yesterday, and no one knows where it is. I
Oh, that's good.
ordered an American shirt, so Stars and Stripes. I wanted to wear it tonight, but
Yep,
yeah,
they
bad
get
luck for
lost
me.
a lot.
Yeah, next time I will wear my Stars and Stripes if we have an American guest. Um, so
Talking about the American guest, I think we have two of them.
yes, let's bring them in.
We're bringing them in. The
That's
Tony and
Hi,
Debra Pickman.
good. Good. It's great to be here.
Mary. I'm imagining you in stars and stripes. You look amazing.
Thank you, thank you. Especially my purple ends.
I love them.
Well,
Happy New Year to you guys.
Happy
Yes, Happy
New Year's
New
to
Year.
you.
Absolutely. Um, we feel privileged to have you, and that's because here in the Netherlands, not many knows about the Sally House. If we talked about it, they are all watching like water is burning. So it's a real privilege to teach them about the Sally House. So it's a
Yeah,
premiere. Yeah,
it
it
is.
is. And we have a
Well,
few
it's a privilege to
questions.
be so far abroad. We don't get to
Yeah,
do so many shows abroad.
yeah. And I've followed you for so long. 1990s was the first time I saw it on
Right.
TV, and I was hooked.
1993.
yeah.
Yes, it was. And I was hooked. Only thing I was thinking about, I want to go to America. I want to investigate the Sally House. So that long,
We actually
I
don't
like the story.
advocate for anybody to. It's a bad place.
Yeah,
Yes,
so we
but
heard.
he has to be scared for the
Who, me?
first time. Yeah,
Fair.
you.
Yeah, true. I'm still waiting for that to happen. So
And
never know.
Shane, you said something about your pronunciation or whatever. You pronounced our little city just right, just
I
perfect.
did. Oh, thank
Epson.
you.
Uh-huh.
Get a
I
thumbs
was
up.
very worried about that when I was like, "Oh, do it well, do it well."
No, no, no. You did good.
Ah, thank God.
It's not that bad as pronouncements of some words I do.
Oh my
I
God.
bite
Oh, you
my
No,
tongue.
but
expect it, and it's always good.
Yeah.
You expect it. I'm
yeah,
Yeah.
sure there's words that we pronounce that
I-
kind of make you guys like tilt your head and say, "Well,
no,
So if we
we
make
win.
a face like "huh," you have to repeat it.
okay."
She has a translator.
Yeah, we do. Let's jump into the story. Um, did you know about the history before you moved in the house?
No. We knew absolutely nothing. It was a quick move,
It was a move of convenience because we had to get out of the place we were in quickly.
and we just my brother had actually lived next door at the time. He was renting a house next door. He didn't know anything about it. But yeah, we knew nothing about it. We just moved in there, and it was a bigger house than what we were expecting a child, and needed somewhere a little bigger. And we got in there, and it seemed really like, oh, this is going to be great. We got so much more room now, and we have a room we can turn to a nursery for the baby, and
plenty of room to grow, had a yard. It was perfect.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
bigger in than it looks outside. It looks
Yeah.
like a small house from the
Yeah, if you're
outside.
driving by, you're like, really? When you go inside, it stretches back a lot farther than it looks. So it worked out pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, because I saw pictures of the house and I was like, it's not that big. But see, it
Right,
It
looks
looks
right.
tiny from the outside.
Yeah,
A lot of
it
people
does.
use the word unassuming because it does. It does not look like a 3-bedroom house, and the bedrooms are big
Well, that's
and
cool.
2 bathrooms.
Very nice.
Wow. Wow.
I dream about 2 bathrooms, but it's not gonna happen.
Right?
Nope.
Is housing
Maybe.
crazy out your guys' way?
Where I live, yeah, I have
Yeah.
a toilet room that I'm like, I'm pretty big because I'm what is it, 5'2", 5'3", maybe. So I'm pretty big, but this the toilet room is like, okay, I have to fit in somewhere.
Oh,
Don't move, because if I move, I bumps into something. So it's that big. So it's very small.
Yeah. I live a bit luxury. I have more luxury. I have 3 bedrooms for myself. Um, yeah, my toilet is big enough, and the rooms are big enough. So, yeah,
that's good.
Yep.
I know prices of everything are going up in the U.S. I'm sure it's everywhere.
Yep.
yeah, it's the same here. Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Um, what was the first indication there was something wrong with the house?
There were a lot of little things that we didn't attribute to paranormal that looking back we recognize now.
There were a lot of electrical things, like you might
Turn a light off and it
turn
would
the
come
light
back
off,
on.
yeah, and you might do that 3-4 times in a row. Same with the TV. We'd go to bed at night, you'd turn the TV on or off, and you'd go to walk up the stairs and you'd hear it come back on. You'd have to come back and turn it back off.
And they were
And,
playful things, like pictures would be turned upside down.
yeah, we'd go. We had pictures along the steps as you walk in the front door of the Sally house. You're met with a stairway that goes upstairs.
Yeah.
And along that wall, we had our family photos. And there were times when we'd wake up in the morning, those family photos would be turned upside down. And that was hard to explain, but you still try to rationalize any little thing. Because I know I didn't want a ghost. I had no interest in ghosts. Wanted nothing to do with them. And so my brain just wanted to rationalize everything. Like, well, maybe the ground shook and it turned the pictures upside down.
Well, and as much as I'm a very logical, processing, eliminating, scientific approach kind of a person, and you rationalize everything out. The pictures going upside down was when it started probably
It's kind of
sinking in. Yeah,
This just isn't right.
because that just doesn't happen by itself. The cats can't do it. You run out of explanations.
Yep.
It would kind of go from that to I mean, we had things like we had candles in our house that were up on shelves in the house, and they would still have we didn't open the plastic off of them. They're basically decoration. Well, there was a time we noticed that they had been lit underneath the plastic that was wrapped around them, and the wax, instead of melting down like it normally would on a candle, it would melt up the wick. It would go just the opposite direction.
And at the base of the candle, there was like a fingerprints, as if someone would hold. There were like 4 little spots burnt through or melted through the plastic that goes around those tall taper candles.
Yeah.
And there was a thumbprint on the other side. Only it was a small.
Like
it
a
was
child.
not a hand. It was my fingers were too big for it.
Mm.
But yeah, we would come across things like that, and then we really knew there was just something that
It started getting creepy when you can't rationalize or explain things. And
Yeah.
we had the electrical checked out by we were renting the house. Actually, we didn't live there; we rented, and we would call the landlord and say, "Hey, we think you got some electrical problems, so could you come over and check it out?" And he'd send technicians overlook at it, and it all checked out okay. So
And then
then,
things would stop for, a while. And then they would start up again. It wasn't a constant. We could go a week or 2 weeks without something happening.
mhm,
And then overnight,
yeah, just
we would put something in the cupboard in the kitchen, and overnight it would grow mold. Just a blanket of mold. Just more and more things were just not.
especially in the basement. Stuff stored in the basement tended to grow mold. So
Yeah.
just overnight, it was crazy. Um,
That is weird.
yeah,
We could go on and on.
there was so much weird
Yeah.
stuff that happened.
To me, if I had something like that, it would probably be creepy as well. Like, what's going on here?
It
I don't
was,
know.
but
How did you
be,
feel?
it really creeped me out. But you'd be really surprised how you really try to come up with excuses for it because you just don't want to think. I never wanted to think I lived in a creepy place.
Well, the thing is,
Yeah.
it's almost like being on a teeter-totter where when things are happening, you run to this side of thinking, and terror, and got to get out of here, and we're in danger, all those things, and then nothing will happen for couple days, maybe a week, a couple weeks. And so you're creeping over to this side thinking, okay, it was in my head, or I blew it out of proportion, or I was too tired and my imagination took up, whatever. And so then you're over here on this side of the teeter-totter. So it's a constant back and flow trying to rationalize and justify your thought processes.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be
And
a disaster
for him,
me.
it was even more debilitating because he got more of it than I did by far.
Yeah, I tended to get more physical. Well, it started getting really physical after a while, but
well, he got things like scratching in the walls, things that bothered him.
Yeah, I was working a night shift at the time, and I would come home, and the only time I could sleep was during the day. And it seemed like whenever I laid down in our master bedroom, I would hear it would either be whispering, it would sound like a bunch of people whispering on each side of my head. I could never make out because there was so much of it. I couldn't make out any one thing. Every once in a while, I'd hear one word real strong, and to this day, I won't repeat that word because I found out later that it was a really
it's a demon name,
and I don't like bringing it. But anyway, I would hear scratching in the walls behind the headboard really bad, and that really creeped me out. And then I know there was 2 occasions when I would hear the whispering, the voices, the scratching, and a couple of times the bed would literally move. It was, how do I explain it? It was almost like someone was on top of it with me, just pushing up and down, and enough to make me flop up and down. And
I remember a time when I was across the hall in the nursery with the baby, and I heard him scream my name, yell my name, and I in turn, what, I'm busy with the baby. What do you need? Man, nothing. A few seconds later, he louder hollered my name. Again, I responded the same way, matter of factly. You're just behind the door. Open the door if you need to speak with me. I mean, I'm busy, right? The third time, it was a scream. And so I went across the room or across the hall to open the bedroom door, opened it. He's on the bed on all fours. He looks exhausted in a panic, and his eyes are like big as light bulbs.
That one instant, it was amazing because the room just went crazy. We had a tall boy dresser at the end of the bed, and the whole top part of that dresser lifted up, turned around, and slammed back down. We had tables on each side of the bed, and the drawers of the tables were just slamming back and forth. and I'm bouncing on the bed, and I've never been so scared in my life. It was almost shell shocked. I was so scared. I remember screaming, but I got even more scared because I couldn't get a scream to come out loud. And it was
And
horrible.
see, that's the only thing I heard was him screaming. But
Yeah.
his perception was that all this noise and banging was going on and that he couldn't get out a scream.
Yeah.
So this kind of exemplifies how this haunting treated us differently. I had a few good experiences. When he worked during the days, I was home alone with the baby. And, I'd sit on the floor, have the baby on my lap. And once we realized we were dealing with this little girl's spirit, quote unquote, I would invite her to come sit with us while we had a story. And I would feel the cold presence on my knee. When I would go upstairs, it was almost if she raced upstairs by me. I would feel a draft whoosh by on my left side. So I knew it wasn't the air conditioner that was coming out of the bedroom, maybe from the right side and down the stairs.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of experiences I had. His were completely different. They were in
They were no way near nice. I had a hard time. I couldn't talk to something I couldn't see, and it just something, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was my Irish Catholic upbringing. I don't know, but I wanted nothing to do with ghosts or spirits, and it just felt wrong to me. Something just didn't feel right, and the stuff that was happening to me just didn't seem like something a little girl would be doing. I couldn't picture a little girl being that malicious, and I had a hard time. I struggled with, why can't she see this, or why doesn't she see what I'm going through? Because she had good experience. She literally invite the little girl to sit on her lap, and she could feel the pressure of the little girl sitting on her lap.
not so much the pressure, but the cold.
Cold.
And then there were other things that would happen that would more or less solidify in, well, it would bring up the
Tension.
No. There was an experience where I left Tony on the couch.
Mhm.
He was sleeping. He was on face down. I went up to go take a shower. When I got out of the shower, he was flabbergasted, waiting for me, standing in the hall, dropped his drawers, turned around, and bared his bottom to show me that just under one of his butt cheeks, there was teeth marks.
Something had bit me, and
Ow.
it bit me hard. And
I couldn't help but laugh. I felt so bad later. But it's kind of solidified that we were dealing with a spirit, a little
of a child, because the teeth marks were small. Like,
and our baby didn't
our
have
baby
teeth
didn't have
yet.
teeth yet. He wasn't even,
So this is in his head. I can only imagine him thinking, okay, well, maybe it is a little spirit ghost. But then with the other things, like he was saying, just weren't lining up. The things that were coming at him unbeknownst to me.
Yeah, it really played us against each other in the house,
Terribly so.
terribly. And the more as time went on, and forgive us because we're skipping so much. There's so much.
Yeah.
I mean,
We should maybe let you guys ask your questions.
Oh.
Our podcast is really we leave people to talk about their experiences.
We could
And,
go on in tangents, though.
Oh, that's fine. It's fine.
well,
It's
You have
completely
a
fine.
better idea of what your listeners are looking for. So question away. I'm trying to keep it brief.
We do. I saw a question came by. Sally, is it a given name or did it actually tell you her name was Sally?
the name actually came about by
Two different people.
two different people. We when we started noticing things were getting really spooky or creepy, and we wanted to make sure that we we're seeing things, clear, and it wasn't just us, you know.
In a roundabout way, we were put in touch with what used to be a local psychic to our town. She had since moved to California. And I was wrong. There were three. Anyways, she came in and she came up with the name Sally. We thought it was Salli or Lly. So Tony's original drawing has that spelling on it. When sightings started covering our case, you don't know if it was after the first or second show. We had a previous resident come knocking at our door, and she said, "My daughter played with an imaginary friend named Sally."
So that was our second validation that there was.
And they did have a little bit of experiences prior to them leaving.
The third was sighting show had brought in a renowned psychic, Peter James.
You guys know a Peter James over there?
I have heard of him, yes.
He was so awesome. He was an awesome person, just a great guy. He came in and he was kind of going. He said he saw her when he first got out of the car when they brought him, and he saw a little girl standing in the window staring at him. So he mentioned that to us when he first came in. We were like, wow.
He was impressive. We don't go along with a whole lot of psychics because I won't go into that. But he was the real deal. I think, and I'm going to say this in a very general way, I don't mean him any disrespect at all, but he was a very gentle soul. And I think he connected and perceived everything on the other side, for the most part, as being gentle. I don't think everything in the house that he met with was as such.
He met a little bit upstairs a little bit when it kind of attacked him.
It burned his face, and it electrocuted his hand on one of the episodes that sightings put out there. But for the most part, he was spot on. Just terrific.
He said he came up with he said there's a little girl here, and she's holding her arm, and she's hurt, and she's saying her name is Sally. So that was the third time that we'd heard the name Sally.
So that's where the name came from.
And we were kind of told by the first psychic that it was a little girl, and that we should treat her as such,
engage with her,
and Deb really
reprimand her for her wrongdoings. And so we awkwardly did, or at least I did. Tony kind of
just couldn't,
not comfortable,
just felt wrong. And but Deb could do it, and she would. We were even told to buy a gift one time. Maybe buy this little girl a gift,
a baby doll, so that she would leave our son alone. Because from the moment, let's see, about 6 months after we moved in, I think, our son was born. And from the day he was brought home, we never got sleep. He was up every hour on the hour. It didn't matter if he was clean, dry, fed, warm. All the boxes were ticked, and he was just up every hour on the hour, if not sooner, like a screech or a howl every time. Like he was being poked.
It was like he was being woke by something sharply, like.
Yeah. And here's my motherly thing wondering, is that a SIDS baby that I have? Is she poking him, reminding him to breathe? So, how do you punish it? How do you figure that out? How do you get through that? When my sister came at about 6 weeks, because this was ongoing, we were the most exhausted parents ever. At about 6 weeks, she came, thought she could lend a hand. The baby stayed downstairs with her, slept through the entire night.
First time.
Unbelievable.
While her sister was there, we had an experience. gone somewhere during the day. I can't remember. And when we came home, I was the first one to go upstairs, and I kind of glanced into the nursery, and the baby's toys were just oddly arranged. There was like a circle of them on the floor and a teddy bear in the center of the circle. And I just thought, okay, the Deb and her sister must have been in here playing with the baby, and they had stuff set up weird. So I went down and asked them. I said, "You guys up, playing with the baby in the room today and set the toys all?" They had no idea what I was talking about.
We were clueless, so we marched up there, and sure enough, all the teddy bears are sitting around in a circle. And so they were from different parts of the room. So we checked for magnets, for strings,
because my brother lived next door and he was kind of a prankster. so we thought we better check this out. Maybe he's hiding in a closet. He's just trying to spook us.
The windows were closed. The cats couldn't have done it. So we're trying to rule everything out. So we put all the things back in the crib, on the wall, in the all the different places. And we go to leave. We turn out the light and we head down the stairs.
And we hear a click.
The light switch.
And we look up and the light switch is back on. So go back up the steps. And sure enough, this was in a matter of what seemed like seconds. Everything was back on the floor. Back in the center. It had been taken off this shelf over from this corner of the room and put back in that same. That was. That really freaked us out.
We stood there without none of us. The three of us were standing there. None of us looked at each other. None of us said anything.
We just got quiet because it was just.
We just stared into that room at the bear.
There was no way to rationalize it. It happened so quick that there was just no way anybody could have possibly.
We all knew what was happening.
Yeah.
Because we'd been together the whole time.
So we kind of cowered. We got all our things together, grabbed some movies, grabbed the baby,
grabbed the scary movies we picked up.
And we all went into the bedroom
and closed the door,
thinking we'd be safe. We stayed in there all night.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was. Trying to get my times right here.
Oh, what you were reading into?
Oh, and that was probably our first inkling that there's something really, really, really odd going on.
The next morning when we came down, because my sister had the forethought to actually set up her video camera at the front door, aimed at the front door. I actually don't know where it was aimed now that I think about it, but she had it turned on to videotape after we went to bed. When we got down there the next morning, nothing had been videotaped, so it had been shut off. And when she went to look into the viewfinder to check on things, it was in demo mode. Demo mode doesn't last for very long. You put it on, it runs a minute or something, and then it shuts off. So something turned it on within the minute of her looking into that viewfinder.
That's weird.
It was very eye-opening that weekend.
Mm-hmm. I can understand that. Yes.
Yes. A question pops up in my mind. Isn't it possible that there is not only a spirit of a little girl in the house, but multiple spirits? Because I did some research and I heard Atchison seems to be very haunted. A block away, there's another house, the Dilgert house, and it was haunted as well. So it's built on limestone. So isn't it possible the one who is attacking and playing the poltergeist, it's a completely different spirit? Or do you really think it was Sally?
It's absolutely a difference. There are multiples. And I say that because Christmas morning when we opened up gifts, I had made a cradle, a wooden cradle for the gift, the baby doll, her own baby doll could go into. So she could have her own baby and leave my baby alone. And In the Christmas photo, you can see the cradle, you can see I'm holding Taylor, and you can see a bright it's a it
kind of looks like something moving. It's a blurred.
Okay, well there's a gray, almost murkyish on this side that we were since told was protection, and by a psychic telling us the colors, what they look like, protection and that anger. But the marbly color was excitement, and so they were in the same picture. There were two distinctly different and separate entities.
And we have so many pictures that we captured. There's one with something at the top of the stairs that to me looks like a man with a hat, almost kind of like almost like he's waving
Military,
a sword or a
yeah,
military
yeah,
type.
yeah.
While we were there, I suffered from horrific dreams all the time, and they would be the same dream. I dreamed so many times about a man strangling a young black boy in the upstairs bedroom closet. So I dreamed that so much, and it was so graphic that I would not use that closet. It just scared the heck out of me. And I saw the apparition of the little girl. I saw her first time working nights. I came home in the morning. I went to get something for breakfast, and I turn around, and here's this little girl standing in the kitchen, and she's kind of dressed funny, like, it's just like the clothing was odd, and she looked surprised, like almost like she saw me for the first time. And I'm looking at her, and I'm thinking, where'd this girl come from? And then I realized I can see through her. I can see the door right through her, behind her. And I probably screamed like a little girl. I just remember dropping my glass of juice I was drinking. I ran upstairs, probably crawled upstairs, and I woke her up, and I'm trying to tell her about it.
He's panting, he's out of breath, or he's just, and I'm like, just draw. He was trying to tell me something. I saw her, and I'm like, what?
She finally told me, just because I drew all the time, and she told me, just draw her. So that's how the picture of the little Sally came about. I also saw the apparition of an older woman, probably from the 1800s, the way she was dressed. And whenever I saw her upstairs, it was usually in the master bedroom.
Well, or in the hallway.
Or in the hallway.
A lot in the hallway. Twice in the hallway.
I saw you in the hallway.
You thought you saw me in the hallway.
Well, it looked just like you, just dressed in funny clothes. But the woman was a very old, grouchy looking woman. I mean, just mean. And I would see her, she would start forming at the end of the bed, and I would just freeze, and she would come over to the bed, and by the time she'd come to me, she'd scream at me and say, "I'm gonna," and her hand would reach towards my throat. And I can't explain it, but the weirdest thing is her hand got to my throat, I would see a big black bird. It would just appear on her hand, and then she was gone. But whenever she was around, that's the times the bedroom would go nuts for me. It would just be horrifying. I saw the Sally another time, trying to fall asleep, and this little girl, she came in and she stood by the bed and she kept reaching for me, and
he thought this was a dream. It was we were sleeping. He wasn't trying to sleep during the day at this point.
And every time she'd reach for me, I would pull away because it was scaring me. Well, the third time I pulled away, that little girl turned into, I don't even know how to explain it. It was human but not human, and it was on all fours, and it was like rotted. I could literally see and hear the worms. I could see worms crawling through it. And this thing reached out and grabbed my arm and just, I get chills today. It just roared to me. It sounded like it echoed and shook the whole room. And then it was gone.
The next morning he woke up and he had not an adult set of 4-fingered welts, burnt welts on his wrist. They were child size, where that thing had grabbed his wrist. the night before.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
It was real creepy.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Even I would think that was creepy. I'm not scared that easy, so
It
I
was
would probably be.
No.
probably it, after that kind of stuff. That's when we kind of everything just started escalating. The attacks, the
It seemed every time
sightings.
sightings at that time sightings had been up multiple times, and every time they came up to do more filming, they would promise, more help, another professional or another set of equipments, to help us through this, understand it, whatever, get something done. And I was all for it because I wanted not only to understand it, but to get it under control.
Yeah.
On the flip side, every time they came up, things escalated around Tony, and he would take the damage. He would take the hits. He would get the burns and the cuts and the scratches.
Yeah, I was scared every time they come up. We probably fought like cats and
We
dogs
did.
over it because
I was for it. He was against it for two very viable reasons. And yeah, we.
yeah,
But this is how it works. This is how a demonic force begins its work, begins the infestation in a house. It sets these like ground rules where, you're not going to agree here. And this is the biggest relationship to take down, because then everything else is going to fall. And it knows that. So it's driving a wedge between us. I'm having good experiences. He's not. I want to bring in sightings. He's like, I can't handle this anymore.
it tries to destroy relationships, basically.
Yeah, and it
was doing it.
It did. It escalated, and
Yeah. When the physical attacks started, the scratching, all that's going through my mind is exorcist type stuff. I'm thinking I'm the next. I'm going to need a.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We were on a couch downstairs, and we had a long wraparound couch. I was sitting at one end. He was laying at the other end and had dozed off, laying on his back. He automatically just sat up, kind of like robotic, and said, "He's mine," in he's mine. Like, it was his voice, but not quite how he would say something. I was thinking, okay, we have a newborn. He's dreaming. He's possessive. He's worried about someone, coming for his child, and he's being protective. And as quick as he sat up and said that, and he opened his eyes at me too. As quick as he sat up and said that, he laid down just as mechanical. No, like lifting himself up or anything, and that was that. For the longest time, I just thought he had a dream. In hindsight, it was much worse than that, and I did not. We were clueless. That was a partial possession. That was that thing letting me know exactly what it was doing.
Yep. Yeah, but you didn't have a reason to think that because you only had the good experiences.
Yeah,
right.
We really were newbies to the paranormal. I can also say I knew nothing about it. I just stayed away from it. And
I'll tell you, I had great interest in the paranormal growing up, and I've read all kinds of books and case files and different things like that. And I'm a very logical person, unless I see something, I have difficulty believing claims, and to me, that's a healthy skeptic. And I hope everybody kind of has that viewpoint on things.
Yeah.
So I went into cruise on this case as we're dealing with it, and kind of went with the flow of what I understood or perceived from what I had read. After the night of the bears moving, Tony's brother next door came over to see how things had gone. They talked about what happened the night before, and they set up a little scenario kind of thing with a little teddy bear next to the TV. Actually, he was about like this tall, and said, "Hey, Sally, I want to take your picture. If you're here, go stand in front of the bear." Well, the bear turned around in front of their eyes, and they snapped a picture.
It just like the dresser I told you about. It just did a circle, like somebody just spun it around.
Wow.
So these two kind of freak out because they just saw something that shouldn't have happened with their own eyes. They're freaking out. They come tell me. We decide really quickly, we need to get out of this house because something's happening. We don't understand this. We need to step back and think about how to approach this. We don't feel safe here. So we're packing the baby. We're packing clothes. We're packing, baby supplies. We're grabbing whatever the hell we think we need. And in the whole, and Tony has the baby and he's packing him into the car seat, which is on the couch. And there's a lot of anxiety in the air.
And it felt like while I was trying to strap him into his car seat, I got the worst. It felt like a sting or a really bad bug bite on my back. It was a really sharp sting. And I thought, we were just panicked to get out of there. So I tried not to think too much about it and just assumed I'd been stung by a wasp or a bee of some sort. We got in the car, we drove to my parents, and while we're there, it just kept burning. It was burning really bad. And so I asked her to look at it, and she lifted my shirt, and that was the first.
I almost dropped to my knees because he had 3 6-inch scratches at least on his lower back. And this is what kind of broke the perception I had at the time that I could communicate easily on a, give and take kind of level with whatever spirit this just, somebody reached out into our world from the spirit world and did bodily harm.
Yeah.
My whole perception was, I realized at that time that I did not know enough about the paranormal.
Yeah, I knew we were not dealing with a little girl.
No.
By then, so. And the scratches just seemed to escalate. They got worse and worse and more, more often.
It was almost like a show-off kind of a thing.
Yeah, it seemed every time the sighting show came up, they were getting so much evidence that they would go back and tell their crew, back at the studio and stuff, you got to come with us and see this.
So actually, the host of the show, the Sightings television show, was in such awe in what all the sound man and all the different people were coming back and telling about the experiences, because he was not a believer. He says, this has got to be a hoax. We'll figure this out. I'm going to go with this time. And he had his own experiences. He did not leave as much as of a skeptic. He still wanted to hang on to that skeptical view of it, but I don't think
he was talking to me in the kitchen at the time. And he's, we're just kind of discussing things, and at this time you could tell he's there to prove you wrong. That was his job. And he's talking to me, and all of a sudden his eyes got big, and he just stopped talking, and he said, "There's something being spelled across your forehead." And there was, I can't even remember what word it was or what it spelled, but I had a cut go across my forehead that started spelling a word. And from that point on, he's like, "We are here to help you. We will do anything you want to get you some help." And
oh my God.
I think it kind of helped him believe.
And most people are like that, and they should be. To have an experience really just changes your whole perspective on the paranormal. We live with the paranormal all the time. Most people do, and they don't even know it.
Yeah, correct. Definitely. Yeah, we noticed that a lot in the Netherlands, because in the Netherlands, people are, I don't know what they are, but they don't seem to notice it. They're like, nah, that's not real.
Aliens.
Yeah,
So you
maybe.
guys don't have major big hauntings out there? Like extreme hauntings?
Yes, we
We
have.
do. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
But they are rationalizing it even worse than you guys did.
Oh, that's dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Definitely is.
We
Well,
felt we learned just in time, and there were several things that went on like that last month that we were in the house there. So I do hope that the your viewers that do dabble in the paranormal do realize that there are significant dangers out there.
We were actually very fortunate in the fact that we didn't know at the time because we just weren't into the paranormal time, and so we didn't know how it worked. And we were actually in it. I will call it a demonic haunting, and it the way it worked was it plays us again. It wants nothing to do with love, so it wants to destroy any of that that takes place in a household, and it will get you fighting against each other to the point of you just literally can't stand the sight of each other. And it would play us different. She'd have, I won't say good things, but
I had
like
much
things happen.
nicer
I was
experiences.
having physical stuff, and at the same time, I didn't realize. Um, I could walk through the house. I'd be walking through the living room, and I would hear a voice, and it would literally say, "Kill her." And I would hear it when I'd lay down to sleep. I would hear things telling me she hates you. She's doing this. It would make it seem like she wanted me hurt, and I was hearing voices telling me, bad things about her. She's cheating on you. She wants, just crazy stuff. And it had me to the point to where when she would walk by me in the house, all I could think was I just wanted to hurt her. It was just, it was like, just like you were taken over. I literally, I felt like a jealous woman. Like I was so jealous of her that I just wanted her gone. It's so weird. And it was getting to the point to where I felt when I was in control, because you would leave the house and you felt normal. But as soon as you came back, I couldn't think straight. I couldn't. It was just
There
I
was
wasn't me.
oppression going on in the house that again we were not aware of, and it was really working on him and
Mhm.
making me the target. And I can remember a phone call, he's home during the day, he's supposed to be sleeping, I'm at work. I remember getting a phone call from him, several, a manifestation of that woman that he saw at the end of the bed. I was on the phone for probably 4 minutes while he described the whole thing. But he called me one time and he said, we really need to get out of the house. He says, someone's going to get hurt and I think it's going to be you. And all I could think of is that whatever's there is only ever hurt him. And it's
Yeah.
only, and he's talking about somebody getting hurt really bad. And I'm like, so.
It would manifest because she would walk by and I would have images of me hurting her bad, like as far as taking a knife to her. It was just crazy, and it felt so real, and and it's so hard to explain because it's so real, but at the same time, you don't feel like you. I just I can't even explain it. It literally feels like you're somebody else because you remember those feelings, but then there's things that like, someone will tell you, well, you did this, and you have no recollection of it. So I think I was to the point where I was partially possessed, and we just luckily somehow I don't know, I'd say the grace of God, we were able to get out in time before it took full. Because I think that's what I think you'd had another Amityville horror
Yeah,
uh,
probably.
Yeah,
type thing, honestly.
there was an episode where the whole cat thing.
Yeah, I hate talking about that. There, and forgive me, I please
We are
any animal
animal
lovers, forgive
lovers.
me. We have so many animals. I love animals to death. Um, but there was a time it got so bad that she was at work. I was home, and I don't know. I still to this day don't know. I don't think it was a neighbor's cat. I don't even remember this cat, but a cat had gotten in the kitchen, and without hesitation, I just remember all I was hearing was. I guess I used to hear the word "slay utterly." If that, I don't know what that meant, but I would hear those two words, and that's all I would remember. And I'd left the house that morning. I went over to my parents, dropped the baby off, went over to my parents' house, come home later, probably an hour or two before she got home from work, and that cat was stabbed to the kitchen counter with a butcher knife. I got to live with that. Did I do that? Because I don't remember doing it, but I do remember those words, and I was the only one there. So that scared the hell out of me because I thought I'm being possessed. And what if this happens to her or my baby, or horrible that it even happened to this cat. It's just frightening to think about.
He told me afterwards, we had moved out of the house, been out of the house for a while. He told me afterwards that same day he had it. He dropped off the baby, gone back to the house. Whatever took place, he had plans on killing me.
I had images of using the knife on her that morning.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when he went back to go get the baby before I got home, that's what he came back to. So leaving the house was probably to go get the baby was probably a savior.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was, yes.
Or mine.
Definitely.
Definitely very lucky.
Definitely.
We had a lot of close calls. We came out of it for all intents and purposes. I mean, there's a lot of aftermath that we deal with, but for all intents and purposes, we're alive and still together. Everything's really well intact. We're above ground.
And we've learned so much more through working with the paranormal community, and so much that we didn't know before that I wish we'd have known back then.
Yeah.
But this was, 20, 30 some years
30
ago?
years ago.
And it just, paranormal was not what it is today. You just, especially in a little town like ours, you don't talk about it here. It's such a little town that you'd never.
Now they embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that. You don't want to go through that.
No, nobody should.
And to this day, there's been some horrible things that have happened because people have gone there and visited, and we would get calls. Someone would go do a tour of the house or go stay there, and
some of them just stand in the front yard. Some of them taunt. Some of them just stand in the front yard, and they go home with attachments.
We've had people call and tell us about they've had full possessions where they've had to call in a priest to exorcise.
They're threatening their family members, their
someone
children.
Tried to kill their child.
They're seeing shadows, having dreams about mutilations. It's just, it gets off the hook. And we get emails or phone calls or messages saying, we need help. What do we do? Because people don't realize what they're going into. They don't realize they need to have protection when they go in. They have to have a positive sense of self and put out a positive energy, because anything negative that you're feeling, if you're pissed off because your car isn't working,
it will intensify.
If you're aggravated because you had to drive across town to go pick up the kid instead of, right up the street, it's going to compound all those seemingly innocuous little emotions 10 times against you.
Yeah, that's not good.
One thing I learned was I didn't know. I always grew up, you'd hear about, you'd occasionally, it wasn't very big, but you'd hear about a haunting on TV or something. And I just assumed that if a house was haunted, it was the house that was haunted. The place. Once you left, you were good. I didn't know till after we left, and it did follow us. It was I didn't realize you had ghosts that had personal attachments that would get attached to you and follow you. I knew nothing about that. And I can remember the first time we moved into a new house after leaving there, and things were fine for a month, and then
We were sitting with New Year's. We moved out like Christmas. We had New Year's Eve dinner with my brother-in-law, sitting at the dinner table, and he is being scratched up. He takes me into the kitchen. I have something to show you, and he lifts his arms and his stomach, and he is all scratched up. It's so nice.
While we were eating, I had gotten used to at the Sally House. There were times I could tell something was going on because I would feel it just felt like icicles being poked through me, and I'd learned from when sightings would be there filming me, and I'd get that feeling, and they'd lift my shirt. Sure enough, I'd had scratches somewhere, so I just got used to that. Hadn't felt it till that night with her brother. It was the first time I'd met her brother. And his wife, and we're having a nice dinner, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to seem crazy in front of so what I do, but it was really intense, the what I was feeling. So I pulled her aside, and sure enough, I had like 11 scratches on me from stomach, my arms, name it. So it petrified me, because I thought, oh my God, I am getting possessed. And I called a
Carrie Gaynor.
Carrie Gaynor was a paranormal
parapsychologist.
Yeah.
That worked on the Amityville horror.
No, the entity.
Or
entity case. He was big on helping
Sorry.
with that. And the poltergeist case.
Yeah.
The movie. But he was a big help for me in understanding things. So I called him and I said, Carrie, what's going on?
He'd been to the house before. Sightings had brought him in, so we had a connection with him until we called.
And I was scared to death, and asked him what was going on. First word he said, "Oh, I was afraid of that." He said, "It's attached to you." And what do you do? How do you get it unattached? And we'd found through time, because it did mess with us through the house we're in now, which is
it still messes with us.
It still messes with us. We have to keep up a constant guard.
Psychic protection, elements of prayer, and different things.
For myself, the more scared I get, the worse it affects me. So I've learned to I try not to give it any credit, and it really keeps it at bay. And I have to give credit to the Lord above, because that's all that got me through it. Was that's all I had, was to pray, and it did help me, and it does help me a lot. And you got to know in your head that you're stronger than whatever is in this world. And I think that's what keeps it at bay. But yeah, to this day, things have gotten a lot less. The scratching has gotten little to none.
I will say that about 5 years ago, Tony and I retired from the paranormal. And we did that for a couple of reasons. We've been in it for so long. Our kids were born into the era of which we lived everything paranormal.
Yeah.
So they almost kind of took a back seat to things, because we invited people into our homes every other week, and we had groups here talking to them. We did, the conferences, we did the lectures, we did the radio interviews and such. So they'd heard about everything over and over, but they really weren't getting us. So we retired to focus a little bit more on family. Fast forward to just this past November, earlier, I guess September, when we started Pickman's Unfiltered on the Facebook, we noticed a serious uptick in little things happening around the house. We're not comfortable with it anymore.
We had to take a step back, because the more we
engage in the
paranormal type stuff, the more
serving around the Sally house.
Yeah, especially the Sally house.
The more we're irritating something.
So we know, I think anybody that's been through a demonic haunting like that, I don't think you can ever. It's always with you. It
may be dormant for a little while.
Not just mentally, but it has some kind of grasp on you, And it really did have such a grasp on me that I didn't realize. I'll give you, for instance, we lived in this house, and it was middle of winter one year.
We actually live 10 blocks from
the
the
Sally
Sally
house
House.
now, and
The town's not that big. It's only 17 streets wide.
Yes,
I
that
woke
sounds
up one night standing in the Sally house barefoot. I was in the front yard barefoot. I had walked over in the snow. Don't even remember walking there, and I just come to. I'm standing there in the front yard looking at the window, the bedroom window. So it has that pull for me to come back. That's why I don't go there anymore. We get asked all the time, "Will you come? We're going to be up investigating. Would you like to come by?" No, I would not, because it's just not good for me.
We've realized that we did investigate a lot. I went over afterwards, after we moved out, with many different groups. I learned a lot over the years, and Tony decided that because I was gone almost every weekend with some paranormal group that was investigating over there, that maybe he should tag along, maybe.
I wanted to see her, it was my chance to. She was gone every weekend over
Yeah.
there, so I wanted to be.
And there was a group that kind of presented that there were human entities there,
They
a
were
plethora of human entities.
they were picking up so many EVPs from the house that I was hearing children talk.
Women.
Women.
They were conversing, having conversations, and engaging with the humans that were investigating in the room.
And it really got me thinking. I started feeling bad, almost like, are there children trapped there? Because if there's children trapped there, I want to go over and help get them out.
We also wondered if we didn't, it's a teeter-totter thing. Did we misinterpret things?
Yep.
So it got me back in there doing some investigations, which turned out really,
for a little while, and it was really quiet for a little while, and then bam,
just out of nowhere, it just took a turn for the worst. And I can't remember what year it was.
Yeah, I'm trying to think too. 2007, it kind of rings a bell. I'd have to go back.
But we'd gone in earlier in the day with this group, and
it was just Renee, you and I.
And things seemed really light. I mean, not a whole lot happened. We left some recorders there and stuff like that. We come back home and decided to go back later that night. Should we have? No, because we had
warnings.
We had a
Reiki, a close Reiki individual with us, that was with us remotely the first time we went in, warned us about going back that night.
Said she didn't have a good feeling about it. Something bad was going to happen.
We went anyways.
When we pulled up to the house, our friend Renee, as soon as we pulled up the house, she let out a gasp and she said, "I just saw the big shadow of a man or something go across the..."
Get up from the chair and walk into the kitchen, like through the wall.
And we still ignored it. And we went in anyway.
Even the dread that we all felt at the front door as we're saying our entrance prayer. It was palpitating. It was, yeah.
We got into the house and it was just a totally different feeling from earlier that day. It was,
the smell in the house was different.
It stunk. It was hard to breathe.
Like musty, almost. Yes.
Yeah. We proceeded upstairs because we had some equipment up there. Deb went into the master bedroom. She was smudging with
I left my recorder down on the table downstairs because the first time we went in, I put it on the banister upstairs. I thought, well, this time I'll record downstairs and see if I can pick up any phantom furniture, because that's been known in the house as well. So yeah, we're upstairs. I'm smudging. He's in another room.
I'm walking around with the camera, just snapping pictures here and there, just to see if we pick up anything. Our friend's in another room saying prayers and doing a blessing.
I come into the master bedroom where Tony's at. I walk across the room to the window to start smudging around that opening. And I turn. I don't know if I heard something or Tony said something, but I went to turn back to look at him, and a little bit better than being in the corner of my eye, I saw him lift up about, 8 to 12 inches and just with the force of like a Mack truck, just hit the door that hit the wall.
Enough to.
And then he slid down and hit the floor. It put the doorknob, put a hole in the wall. His boots are still sitting where he was
I had
standing.
laced up boots on.
His work boots.
And it took me out of my boots. It hit me that hard.
He's pinned to he's at the bottom of the door. Our other investigator comes around the corner. She starts engaging in the name of God, release him, because he's trying to get up. He can't get up. You can see.
Well, it literally knocked me out. When I came to, I just remember her and the other investigator over me. She's crying and praying, and the investigator's praying, and I remember just trying to stand up.
You're telling him, get up. We got to get out of here.
I was pinned. Something was just holding me to the floor.
And you could see he was struggling. He was trying to get up. You could see all those muscles in his neck as he's trying to get up off the floor. And eventually, between the two of us female investigators, and the prayer we were chanting in the name of God, let him go. He finally got released. We collected, we hit the lights as we went down the stairs. I grabbed my recorder and we were gone. We got into the car.
And I was on fire. I was just, from head to toe, I was burning. I just felt like something was burning me. And we started looking, and oh my God.
He was covered. He had probably 50 or 60 scratches all over his front, again on the back, his arms, his legs, every inch of him pretty much was just covered in scratches. We have EVPs from that whole scenario where there's a woman screaming as we're running from the house and sitting in the car. We've got one that says, I hear your fears. That's a male voice. It's horrible sounding EVP.
Yeah, and you can hear the attack. You can hear me scream, and the door are slamming into the wall.
You can hear, because we've got the whole recorded footage from downstairs, and you can hear EVP of different spirits talking. Children saying, I'm scared. Others saying, what are you scared of? He will get hurt. How will he get hurt? Thrown on his back. I mean, this conversation goes on and on. It's amazing what happened.
That's short, just
minutes. We weren't there. We weren't there 10 minutes.
So the house definitely has. I want to say you have a demonic spirit that keeps other spirits trapped. It doesn't want them to leave.
Yeah. Because there is fear in some of the EVPs that we've picked up. They fear a larger spirit. They all go quiet. We've been talking a long time.
Yeah, take a breath.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Now there's a lot of power coming. Looking at it.
Yeah.
That you're so lucky to be still sitting and talking to us right now.
Oh,
we are. Yeah. We know that. We really
blessed.
Do. And that's why over the years we've really tried to make ourselves very available, because to feel that vulnerable, not that I felt it so significantly, but I know how much being out of the situation.
I know how
I ask questions and I'm always involved. I did not do that when I was there. I did not go into the situation wanting to solve it, wanting to get answers, wanting to help, I was not allowed to, I think.
It's a horrible feeling for anybody to feel helpless and helpless and so not in control. And that's kind of one reason we got into trying to help other people, because I hated that feeling. To this day, I hate that feeling. And to have anybody have to feel that, it's horrible.
So we got into investigating, and there's some cases where people, a lot of people want to say, oh, I'm haunted by a demon in my house, and sometimes it's just a matter of going in and seeing what they're dealing with logically understanding what could create these situations, test them, and then when they show up, bring them to their attention, and then they're not so scary. And then explain that, this may be spirit interaction, but look, it's good, it's okay. 95% of what spirits are out there are we can live with them. People don't
Yeah.
even know they're living with them.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. And they're misunderstood a lot of
Yeah.
times.
And people have a misconception that they have to go to a haunted house to pick up an attachment. That's not the case. You can pick up one in Walmart.
Yep. Definitely. Definitely. I saw a question come by. The question was, do you believe that talking about it would give it more power? Because the more it's visited, the more power it will get.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah.
The more you talk about it, the more you research it. Anybody who's going to research this case, there's not as much out there because our website is not there anymore. But be very careful with how much time that you put into researching something.
Yeah.
There's energy that's attached to something. When somebody else creates, let's say, a movie of that something, there's energy in this.
Hmm.
So all these thises that you're researching, you're getting all that energy, that negative energy. So you need to kind of do it in moderation. Maybe a couple hours a day instead of 8-hour shots or.
And it's a smart haunting, so it's learned. I remember Lorraine Warren telling me that she would never go in there. I told her one time that if I ever went in, I would love for her to go back in with me, and she told me in no
Oh,
way.
honey.
Yeah, she said, "Oh, honey, I worry about you. Please never go back in that house." She told me it needed burnt to the ground, and that it's such a smart haunting that it knows it's learned. They've had billions of years these demons to watch us, and they know how we operate. They know what scares us. They can't read our minds, but they can sure read our actions and our
Yep.
they know what to feed on, and they use it, and it has learned how that it can, with people visiting the house and going in on their tours and all that, it can attach to people in so many different ways, and then they take it home, and I don't know. I hate to see it, but I mean, this day and age, you'll never stop it. People are
Nope.
just
Definitely
fascinated
not.
by it, and
It's a double-edged sword if you warn people about how bad the place is.
Yeah, it definitely is. Well,
But
a
over the
question for
years,
me.
I've had a couple people, a couple groups say, you know what? After talking with you, we've changed our minds. And to me, that's a feather in our cap because those people are safer than they would have been had they gone to the house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Um, I don't want to be rude or anything, but
Like,
the time is about to end. But I
yeah,
do
we
have
thought.
one more question, and it's a very important one, especially for skeptics around here in the Netherlands, for instance. Is there any advice you can give them as a skeptic?
As a skeptic, my biggest advice is stay a skeptic. I think it's better to be a skeptic, because
Healthy skeptic, you have to know when the logical parameters have exhausted themselves. You have to be truthful with yourself. But yes, being a skeptic is very healthy.
and there comes a point when if you feel the need to reach out for help, don't hesitate. Get it, because like I said, I consider myself blessed. I was so freaking lucky because things could have turned out so much worse.
Yeah,
But through friends in the paranormal, through my Lord and Savior, um, we made it out and we survived, and we're surviving today. And yeah, I just be a smart skeptic. That's
Yeah,
all I can say.
and the protection. Always find a protection to work for you. Protections don't work for the same for everyone. If it's
No,
prayer, if it's gemstones, if it's, fragrance, whatever it is, whatever you feel has your intent, that's what's going to give you the protection. And everybody, even the skeptics, need protection.
Yep. Best advice ever.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Marius, do you have something to add?
Uh, no, I'm completely empty in my head.
See, and you
Too much
still
to
have
take
your
in.
voice too.
I love you talking about it. I'm completely drawn into it.
Well, I
Because
think we've enjoyed talking with you guys
Yeah, we
too.
appreciate you guys having us on, and
We
everybody out
yeah,
there for
appreciate.
listening.
Yeah, we
you were
appreciate
on
you.
top on my bucket
Yeah,
list. So thank you for doing this.
You're so welcome.
yeah. We want to thank you so much for even wanting to talk about it again, because I could
It's a
see
little
in a lot
therapeutic.
of cases it was very, very hard on Tony, for instance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Um, and I am very happy that you guys survived this, and
thank you. We
we can
appreciate
talk
it.
to you still. Yeah, definitely.
We could go on, and we kind of feel like we hijacked your show.
Oh no, 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 not at all. As a matter of fact, this is an invite to come on the show again if you want to
We'd love to.
and talk
Yeah,
some more.
We
awesome.
will.
absolutely. I
We'll do it
love it.
again.
Then we will
We will.
definitely stay in contact with each other to set a
You
new
bet.
date,
Yeah,
Yep,
and
Okay.
we will talk again because I enjoyed this very much, and I think the
sounds
viewers
great.
and the
We
listeners
enjoyed it too.
will do as well. Well, in
absolutely.
this
Oh,
case, we want to say thank you, and you can say your goodbyes, and
I
then
was just going to say, I wish everybody out there a great, great New Year.
You guys have a good morning, evening. I've told Mary before I can never keep up with what time it is or
Yeah,
time difference. So
have dinner now.
no, we're going to
Like
bed, but that's fine.
4:30 here.
it's probably 11 or midnight there.
It's 11:30 p.m.
It's
That's
4
close.
here then,
Yeah, so it's probably gonna be like,
right? I hope you guys all sleep well.
oh, we
I
probably will.
will. I
You
will.
guys have a
Definitely.
great evening. Thanks again.
Have a great
Thank
day.
It was a
you.
pleasure.
It was our pleasure as well.
Yes, till the next time.
Bye
You
Okay.
bye.
bet. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Oh,
All right, that was a great show.
it was.
It
And
was amazing.
I was completely flabbergasted by the things they told us. And I did my research, as you know, and
Yep.
uh, they jumped into everything I wrote down. So it went like a machine.
It definitely
And
did.
we still haven't answered all the questions because,
Nope.
of course, we did some background research. You have limestone there. You have a gatherer, a demonic type of gatherer of spirits. So, is it drawing the hauntings from other buildings? Um,
I don't know. It could
I
be.
don't know. It could be, but it is interesting to talk about.
It
So,
definitely is. And I will probably even. I'm going to say it. And I can't believe I'm going to say it, but I'm probably gonna think twice before entering the Sally house.
no, because one, I'm a woman, I'm a mother, and I'm very gentle. I'm positive minded, so I'm not worrying.
I don't like you. I
Uh,
no.
uh, for men, it's a different thing.
Yeah, I think it
Just
is.
this afternoon, I watched a haunting in Heartland because I knew there was a show missing in Wikipedia, and it was about Etchin, that song, and he went um, to a historic society. He did his background research, and they mentioned the Sally House, which was a block away, and um, the story was told. So he went there, and as he went there, the curtains went open, and one of the crew mentioned his eyes were starting bleeding inside. I've never seen a haunting like that. So, what's it? What is it? Just
Yeah.
looking at the house and your eyes starting bleeding?
Yeah, but not only that, it's a man again.
It's a man. The women have no problem. The film crew, two men, Steve Shippey, a woman. The man was startled, wanted to go away, got scared. Um, all the noises around them. The women, no problem.
No, exactly. And that's the weird part about it.
Yeah,
So, like I said, I'm gonna think twice before entering that house.
yeah. But
Mm-mm.
I did it. I did it. I did get you this far. You're asking for a sequel.
I am. Yeah,
Yes, yes,
definitely
yes.
asking for it because I want to know more.
Yeah. So
Definitely want to know more.
I will be thinking about another subject we will be talking about, so you will beg for a sequel as well.
Yes, I will. Probably.
It's
Most likely.
challenge. It's challenge. So
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this. We hope you enjoyed, and
yes,
we will see you in the next one.
till the next one.
Bye bye, everybody.